Hello, friends. It's Amanda Roberts, and today is 66 of 100. So, I am actually babysitting this morning for our friends who needed help with their sons watching a show. So, I thought maybe I should do my live real quick. I've got so much to do, and yet I sat here for probably 20 minutes trying to figure out, and I'm like, okay, God, or okay, what am I supposed to share today? And I've told you, like, this week has been really hard, and it's okay to admit that. It's okay to admit that we all go through rough patches in life. And for me, I realize sometimes when you're working on yourself, things have to get worse before they get better. And I'm learning more and more. So for those of you who've never been on any personal development journey or personal growth journey, some people are just complacent in life and they're happy and they're going to work their 9 to 5 and they're going to not ever ask for promotion and they're just going to be married and maybe never grow. There are a lot of people that look in the mirror and they want to blame everyone else for the hurdles or the bumps in the road. And I realize, no, how can I work on this? I look in the mirror and I'm like, okay, how could I make today different? How could I can't go back and change anything. And at the same time, I can't predict the future. I know what I've been called to do, but I can't predict how everything is going to iron out. The only thing that I can do is now, in this moment, in this day, in this hour, in this minute, be the best version of myself. Good morning, Miss Jennifer. And so, in order to be the best version of me, I know I have work to do. We grow the things that sometimes we've been taught by those around us or our parents, or we've learned from past relationships and we've carried them forward, are not necessarily the best things. Sometimes we move forward through life with a chip on our shoulder from a bad breakup or a hurt or from a crappy boss who gave us poor criticism. And so I realize I am a work in progress, and it's okay. There are areas of my life, being a type A personality, being an oldest child, being someone that moved out of the home and away 2.5 hours to college, when I think it was like 2 weeks before my 18th birthday. Being someone who's been divorced for 5 years, we learn things that are not always the best. We sometimes, and that's what I love so much about this Unstoppable Influencer journey, is she's like, it's not about becoming what you're supposed to be. It's about unbecoming all of the things that you've applied to yourself that maybe aren't beneficial, they're not helpful, they're not encouraging you, that negative self-talk in your head. I've struggled with body image my whole life. I am like, now that, I'm 10, 15 pounds from where I was prior to kids. And I think to myself, gosh, if only at 18, 19, 20, 23, I saw myself in the light that I see myself now. If only, but you can't change anything. You cannot go back and change the past. All you can do is work on yourself right now, in today, in this minute, in this hour, And just because I'm working on myself, just because I am using my voice to help and inspire other people, does not mean I am numb or immune to negativity, hurt, struggles, hurdles, reality. You guys, we're human. Sometimes, though I'm like a light brown, dark blonde is like become my natural hair color. I got some red in me. For those who don't know, my dad's red and my mom's dad was red. And sometimes I recognize my patients need a whole lot of work. And then it's funny to me because some people will say, well, you have the patience of a saint. I'm like, there's probably areas of my life where I need to not exude so much patience, and there's other areas of my life where I need to practice more patience. There's areas of my life where I need to keep my mouth shut, and there's areas of my life where I need to actually speak up for myself. And I'll never forget when I started my very first Unstoppable Influencer Challenge back in whatever month that was, April. It was day 2 when one of my girlfriends, I had sent a text message and I screenshot it and sent it to her. And she goes, that is the first time in almost 2 years of being your friend that you've stood up for yourself. Because we've all know, and I've shared more than once, I am a recovering people pleaser. I was the teacher's pet. I wanted to do anything to make everyone else happy at my own detriment. And I look back on majority of my adult life and I realize I switched companies to please someone else. I backed off because of negative comments from other people. Guess what? Those people's opinions were not paying my bills. And I saw a quote in the last 2 days and it said, unless that person who wants to criticize you and wants to make comments to you is paying your bills 10 years from now, their voice and their opinion is not valid. But how easy is it for us to listen to the naysayers? How easy is it to not stand up for ourselves and to get stuck in friendships that are toxic or relationships that are toxic? Or maybe they're not even toxic, but they're just not the perfect puzzle pieces. Sometimes we hold on to that best friend when that best friend brings us down. When that best friend feeds on drama. When that best friend makes you feel like you have to tippy-toe around or creates negative emotions when you're always with them. Maybe it's jealousy. Maybe it's frustration. And so today, on this Friday, I just have to share that I'm like parched. Today, realize a lot of adults, especially as we get older, they say people don't change. And for the large part, that's true. Majority of people are unwilling to change. They want to blame everything else and every circumstance and everything that comes at them on other people. It takes a lot of work to change. Or they say it takes 21 days of consistently working on something to make it a habit. How many people give up on day 4 or day 2? How many people are unwilling to make a lifestyle change? Majority of people are not willing. That is why there's keeping up with the Joneses. There's, constantly striving for something else because we can't figure out how to be happy. So we think other purses or other houses or other jobs or other relationships are going to make us happy, when at the end of the day, we got to look inside. And I realized over this last month, holy moly, because I've been 66 days of doing these lives. 66 days plus, I've been doing them longer, but this is an intentional 100 days for a reason. And why? Because I realized through these 66 days, I'm learning about myself. And I come on here because I know that I'm supposed to help somebody else. And I selfishly am super transparent because through my journey of ups and downs, positives and negatives, triumphs and, successes, and also defeats and heartache, that if I can inspire one person to take the leap, to realize that you're enough, that you're worth it, that you deserve the life you want to live, and you don't need everyone else, your friends, your partner in life, your spouse, your whatever. You don't have to live your life for them. You got to live it for yourself, and you got to figure out what makes you happy. When I really, really started in on this huge personal development, I started a couple years ago, but really dove in and then dove in again. I remember people asking me, what kind of hobbies do you have? Okay, you guys, remember, I, at 21, became an instant mom to 2 kids whose mom had just passed away. I was 10 weeks out of college, 5 weeks working in the corporate world. I became an instant mom. And they became my identity. Then I had 2 kids. So then I was a mom of 4. So 5 years ago, when I realized and had a counselor look at me, and my stepdaughter is the only girl out of the 4 kids, and the counselor asked me, she sat across from me on this couch, and she said to me, if your stepdaughter was in the same relationship, would you want her to stay? And I had a really quick answer. Absolutely not. And it was in that instant and in that moment that she said to me, then you have your answer. You've tried everything, you've done everything, you've went to counseling, you went to classes, you've done it independently, you've done it together. You have your answer. And I had outsiders that didn't want me to do it, that thought it was horrible that I was going to divorce. But I had valid reason. But I'm going to tell you that in the last 5 years, I've had lots of roller coasters. And why? Because I'm still working on myself. I'm a work in progress. Because when you have been mom, and that's been your identity, and I want to work on it now, not when my kids are grown, because can you imagine if I don't work on it now, how much worse it's going to be then? So, not having my kids for 2 weeks right now, it's hard because they're my identity. And I went to dinner this week. I went to lunch this week. I went to a different dinner because I know that I need to make friends and figure out the things that I like to do. Because when you've been a mom, and that's all you've been, you do what your kids like to do. I love to travel. I know that. Sometimes it's not always conducive. And so I challenge you as we go into this weekend, if when you look in the mirror, you're not happy, then start working on yourself. Stop blaming everybody else. I realize there are people that say hateful things about me. I realize there are people that don't like me. I realize there are people that think I'm not qualified, or whatever success I have, they're never going to be happy for me. They're not paying my bills. Jealousy's a bitch. And at the end of the day, they and their opinion, if you listen to it, all it does is hurt you. You gotta let it go. And it's freaking hard. It's real hard. But we don't control other people. The only people we control is ourselves. And so sometimes other people's opinions and the things and actions of other people that influence us hurt us. But reality is, we have to look at ourselves. How are we handling the situation? How are we responding? Because sometimes I respond real bad. Really bad. And so therefore, I'm a work in progress. Some people may not forgive me because I opened my mouth, and that's okay. I can't go back and change anything that I've ever done. All I can do is start today to be the best version of myself. That's it. Just like all you can do is be the best version of yourself. And you can't continue to allow the things and actions of other people to continually impact and change the course of your life. I know where I'm going. I know the things and my end goals. I know those things, and sometimes we allow other people to infiltrate where we know we're supposed to be headed, and yet we get off course. Sometimes they're the people closest to us. So I just challenge you today. If you look in the mirror and you're unhappy, then you got to get happy with you. Nobody else is going to do it. If you look in the mirror and you think back to this video today and you're like, what are my hobbies and what do I like to do? And you don't have an answer, then you're where I was a year ago. And it's time to start figuring it out. And I'm still figuring it out. I am still figuring it out. And there's going to be naysayers. There's going to be people that think you're nuts for liking to crochet or needlepoint, or that you like to swim every morning. There's going to be people who gives a shit. At the end of the day, they don't pay your bills. They don't live inside of you. Go figure out what makes you happy. You are a work in progress. If you have a breath left in you, you're a work in progress. Stop bowing down to the notion that as you're an adult and as you get older, you can't change. If you want to, if you're not happy, then let me tell you, you can. It's all about what you want out of life. And for me, I want a better life than the life that I lived yesterday, so I'm making a better one today. So with that, you guys, I'm babysitting a little bit longer, and then I've got a lot of work to do. Business-wise, personally, all the way around. This week, the next 9 days may be a little bit hard for me. And it's okay to admit that. But it's why I'm on this journey. To be the best place of my life, mentally, physically, emotionally, and all the way around. That's my resolution for 2019. So super long video today. I love you all. Hopefully someone got whatever they needed out of this. Have a great day, you guys.